8:31 p.m. Dr. Thomas Wilson handed the driver the money. "Here's your extra £40 I promised you, Kenneth. 20 for each stop." Then he pulled out an additional £10. "This is for carrying these packages to my door." "My pleasure, sir." Kenneth tipped his hat. "Cheers." As the driver returned to his taxi, Wilson inserted his key into the lock. He hadn't been this excited since he was a child on Christmas Eve. He swung the door open and bent down to retrieve the Ripper's packages. He'd thought about opening them in the taxi, but didn't want to push his luck with Kenneth. The 2 boxes most certainly contained body parts. He walked into the building and shut the door behind him. Gita's door was open. That was strange. "Gita?" He set the packages down on the floor in the foyer and turned back to her flat. "Gita, you left your door open." No answer. Very strange. The hairs on the back of his neck stood up. Out of the corner of his eye down the hallway, he saw Gita on the floor. As fast as he could with ancient legs, he ran to her. "Gita, are you okay?" He bent down over her, seeing the blood near the center of her chest. The top of her apron was already stained a bright red. His eyes filled with tears. "Gita, my poor Gita, why did I leave you alone?" He placed his fingers to her neck and found a ragged pulse. "Stay with me, my darling." He kissed her cheek. "I'm going to call 999. "No, you're not, Dr. Wilson." He felt the barrel of a gun press into the center of his back. Monette, Missouri, 1973. Heading down their long driveway, Octavian held the steering wheel with one hand and his wife's hand with the other. The newscaster's voice was somber. "The fallout from the Saturday night massacre continues to haunt President Nixon as more elected officials call for his impeachment. 3 United States congressmen." Catherine turned the dial to another station. Gladys Knight and the Pips' latest hit rang out from the radio of his brand-new 1973 4-door Chevrolet Impala. Most people these days were consumed with the Watergate scandal, but he and Catherine were not focused on politics in any way. They had something more exciting to be thinking about. Everything was about to change for them. The roses he and Catherine had planted were in full bloom along their fence. They had bought the 15-acre spread 10 miles from town when they had started their practice. Building their dream home had been one of the most satisfying things he had ever done. The 5-bedroom ranch was meant for them to raise their family. After 10 years, they were finally going to have children. Twins. A miracle. Catherine stared at her belly. "Jim, I'm so ready for our babies to be here." Jim. Damn, she didn't even know his real name. But she would, soon. Catherine was the most beautiful pregnant woman he'd ever seen, and having delivered many children over the past 6 years in their practice, that was saying a lot. "Sweetheart, you and I both know it could be any time, today, tomorrow, the due date, maybe longer." "Longer?" She slapped his leg lightly. "No way. Our babies will be here on November 12th or before. I'm putting my foot down on that one." Being a physician just like him, she realized due dates for multiples rarely hit the mark, usually coming early. "It could be tonight." Knowing not to argue with her further, he decided to change the subject. "We better get candy for the trick-or-treaters." Their staff always made the trek to their house with their children for Halloween every year. Why wouldn't they? Catherine filled every child's bag to overflowing with sweets. As he pulled out from the end of their driveway onto the country road, she smiled. "I can't wait to see the little kids." A loud bang from something colliding into them on the passenger side silenced her. The car rolled several times before coming to a stop, leaving them upside down hanging from their seatbelts. "Catherine, Catherine!" He saw the blood pouring out of her forehead, soaking her dark locks that dangled toward the ceiling away from her face. "Speak to me, darling." She didn't respond. Her eyes were closed. His own body was battered and bloody. Carrying a gas can, the other driver got out of his car. He was wearing a black mask. "An orthodox coward. The Brotherhood has found us." The man bent down and peered in through the broken glass. "My lord, you can't imagine how long I've been searching for you." "I'll have your head for this bastard." Holding the steering wheel to prepare for the fall to the car's roof, Octavian unfastened his seatbelt. He twisted around, his feet landing on the car's roof, sending a shock through his injured ribs. "Now you're talking like a true believer." The driver looked at Catherine and frowned. "When I learned this morning from one of your neighbors 3 miles up the road that Dr. James Bailey was married and expecting twins, I thought I'd gone down another dead end. I was certain a Morvicti prince would never marry a human and conceive abominations, but I was wrong." The venom he spewed repulsed Octavian. "I will do my duty and make sure your bastards and whore die today. When your body is nothing but char, I will pull you out of this car and remove your head." He bowed theatrically. "Goodbye, my prince." Heresy will always be dealt with swiftly by us. Tell me your name, Octavian roared. I will show you what swift justice is. He needed his gun. It had been under his seat before they had rolled. Was it still there? He shoved his hand under his seat. The revolver wasn't there. The masked man chuckled. There are more of us who follow the old ways than you can imagine, Your Highness. The sharp smell of gasoline filled his nostrils. Reaching under Catherine's seat, his fingers finally clasped around the gun. He bent down and fired out the shattered windshield at the fanatic's leg. The man fell to the ground, cursing. Octavian fired another shot into the man's head, silencing him totally. Flames licked the windshield from outside. Tucking the gun into his jeans, Octavian opened his door and hobbled over to the passenger side. The door wouldn't budge. Screaming as his ribs protested, he pulled on the door with enough force to finally wrench it open. Blaze was growing and black smoke made it difficult to breathe. Though Catherine was unconscious, he apologized to her with every sharp move. I'm so sorry, my love. I know this hurts, but I must get you inside. Guilt rolled through him. With tears in his eyes, he knew he was to blame. He should have walked away the day they met, but he did not, believing he could keep her safe. He managed to get her unbuckled and out of the car as quickly as possible. He turned toward the driveway and began limping back to the house. Every step was agony. You're going to be fine, sweetheart, he whispered. You have to be. Catherine was breathing shallowly, but she was breathing. Keeping hold of her, he stepped into their home. He lowered her gently to the sofa and shut and locked the door. Where there was one orthodox assassin, he knew there were bound to be more. When that bastard didn't return to his superiors, someone else would come looking eventually. Octavian knew they likely only had a couple of days, but he and Catherine would be long gone by then. Without pausing, he ran to his closet in his office. In the back of it was a concealed mechanism that unlocked a secret door. He'd designed the entrance to the chamber to be so well hidden that even Catherine didn't know of its existence. So many lies. She didn't know his truths. He hurried back to her, disregarding the pain radiating from his body. He lifted her back into his arms and carried her down the secret stairs to the chamber below. He lowered her onto the hospital bed. I did not know how to tell you about this, sweetheart. I was going to tell you everything, but waiting for the right time. But there never was a right time. I prepared this place for the birth of our children. There's so much more to say. Her eyes remained closed. Her breathing became more and more labored. He checked her vitals and realized she was slipping fast. He removed her clothes with scissors. Seeing how damaged her body was destroyed him, but he didn't stop trying to save her. Using every skill he had learned in medical school and in their practice, he worked feverishly to bring her back. He tried everything, but nothing worked. When her heart stopped, he wished his would too. He placed the paddles on her chest and delivered a shock. Nothing. Again, still nothing. She was gone. No time to mourn. Their babies' lives were in jeopardy. He had less than 120 seconds to save them. Through the tears, he grabbed a scalpel. His hand shook and he paused, needing to steady himself. He took a deep breath and sliced Catherine's abdomen. Moments later, he held his newborn babies, his chest being warmed by their first breaths. He clung to them as if they were tiny lifelines to their mother. The sheets of the bed were drenched dark red with his wife's blood. Blood. The bitter irony burned his lips like acid. Agony crushed him. He knew loss far too well. Grief, his constant companion, born from standing at so many graves over so many years, slowly drained away the color and vibrancy of his life. His gray existence, standing apart from the world, became not what one would call comfortable, but normal. Until Catherine. His boy's fingers curled into two small fists. Our son is a fighter, sweetheart, he choked out, wrestling with his sorrow. He looked at their baby's palms and bottoms of their feet, tinged pale violet. They carried his genes, but would they survive? Definitely not if the Brotherhood of Purity found them again. They would see his children as half-bloods, lesser, evil. Despite his efforts to remain hidden, the fanatics had found him and Catherine. The Imperial Morvicti Council would be no help either. None of the nobles on the council were orthodox, or so they claimed. Still, their righteous indignation for the mingling of the bloodline remained intact, despite that very body having relaxed the laws concerning such offspring. The old barbaric requirement of executing half-bloods had been overturned long ago, which had given rise to open resentment and secret alliances. The current council's rule still required that offensive progeny be cast off, shunned, placed in the care of humans who had no knowledge of the Morvicti. But how could humans protect children from the fanatical orthodoxy that burned hot in some immortals? They could not without help from the shadows. Every muscle in his body tensed as the image of his children's severed heads rolled away from their tiny bodies, their chance at life gone forever, burned in the back of his brain. He kissed their foreheads. "I will not let that happen to you." As he glanced once more at his true love's unmoving body, her eyes no longer holding light, Octavian prayed their children had Catherine's courage. "I swear, my darling, I will protect our twins." Keeping hold of their babies, he bent down and kissed her lips. "I failed you, but I won't fail our children." He needed the fanatics to continue believing his children were dead. Seeing the babies were doing well and sleeping in their incubators, he went up the stairs. Getting the axe from the garage, he walked over to the assassin's body. He had never taken a Morvicti life before. He swung the axe high, causing the ache in his ribs to explode. He ignored the pain and brought down the blade onto the man's neck, severing his head. "Neither you nor your Orthodox brethren will ever hurt my children." Heartbroken, he fell to his knees. Thinking about his 2 innocent babies and how much they needed him, he stood and ran back inside. He gave each of the twins a bottle of formula and then called his younger brother. "Am I an uncle?" Romulus asked. He was one of only a few in his family that knew about his wife and the pregnancy. "Rom, Catherine is dead. An Orthodox assassin found me." "What about the babies?" "They made it. I took the bastard's head. I don't know what to do, Rom. I'm not thinking clearly. I lost her. She's dead because of me." His voice shook from the anguish he felt. "Octavian, I'll take care of everything. You get your children away from there now." "I can't leave her." "You must. And you know what you have to do for your children, brother." "You're asking too much. I can't lose them, too." "I can't imagine what you're going through, but you have to leave. Get to Kansas City. I'll have a private jet waiting for you. We can talk about what we must do for your babies when we are face to face. Move, now!" Rushing back down to the chamber, Octavian grabbed his gun, the bag, the babies, and their car bed. He glanced at his beloved one last time before heading to the garage. He secured the twins in the bed of the passenger side of the vehicle he'd purchased for Catherine the day after they'd learned she was pregnant. Another family car, like his Chevy Impala that had been destroyed by her killer. He ran back inside to get one item he could not leave without, the box with their home videos and photos. He got behind the wheel and glanced at his 2 babies resting comfortably. Romulus was right. He hated what he must do. He needed to move, or his resolve would fail. Finding the right human couple would not be difficult, but guarding his children from the shadows would be heartbreaking, but necessary. He would never hear them speak their first words or see them take their first steps. They would never know him. It was for the best. But even knowing how true that was, Octavian felt the gravity of the loss in his entire being. All he could do was watch and protect them out of sight. Not only had he lost Catherine, but in the days ahead, his babies would leave his arms for their new family, their human family. Austin and Angelique would be his no more. Thanks for watching Morvicti Blood, Episode 21, The Hidden Heirs. I hope you'll like and share and subscribe and hit the notification bell. New episodes are dropping every Monday and Friday. But if you want more now and haven't watched the full 8-part sequel, Morvicti Execution, it's already live. Start there to witness the betrayal that set everything in motion. Want to read ahead and uncover secrets not yet shown on screen? The full novel, Morvicti Blood, is available now on Amazon. You'll find the link in the description if you dare. I hope you'll leave a comment. What do you think? What creeped you out? Who do you think survives? I'm going to read every comment, and I'm going to try to answer every comment or question that you have. For early access, bonus episodes, and forbidden lore, join our inner circle, Bloodbound, at patreon.com/Lee Swift. Until next time, keep your lights on, stay quiet, and whatever you do, don't answer the knock at your door.